we are going to be doing some more TEW alongside Dark Side of the Ring. Today we're going to be watching Onita's FMW. It's a little bit backwards because, usually we already have the star that it's based around. We don't have Onita. I'm going to see if I don't know if Onita's debuted, but um, we do have a few of his stars. We've got Sabu. We've got Mick Foley in one of our co-main event tonight. So yeah, we've got a few of the folks that would have appeared there, and let's maybe see if we can't pick up some along the way. But yeah, you're joining us as the 101st installment of my, Jim Cornette in the games. UWF Super Saturday Night Fever begins. So we have a pre-show here where we've got Austin and Sabu going over Hillbilly Jim and Greg Valentine. We've got Rey Mysterio versus Taz, Al Perez and Nick Bockwinkel. We got Raven versus Jimmy Snuka. Opening up the show, we're going to have a Sting and Flair promo. Basically, Sting comes to the ring, lets Flair know, hey, I'll fight you again for this title. And then the rest of the promos tonight are going to be all featured around the tag scramble that we're going to be doing. So we've got both of our tag team champions, and then arguably our top babyface tag team with Owen and Bulldog. And then you got the Unholy Union, arguably the top heel tag team that isn't champions right now. So yeah, we got our baby faces versus our heels, versus our heels versus our baby faces. So it's a 2v2v2v2 four-way tag match, non-title. So we're actually going to have our heel tag team champions, mostly Mick Foley, but franchise and Foley. Foley's going to get the pin over Rick Steiner, setting up a kind of I think it's fun, this whole idea of the tag scramble, because there's a lot going on. You could have someone get a win over one of the tag title champions. There'll be a couple close falls, probably one or two for each team, where they might have almost pinned a tag champion. But in this case, we actually see a champion pin another champion. We're going to see Mick Foley pin Rick Steiner, setting them up for a special kind of event coming up. We might just have a unified tag team championship here shortly. But in the meantime, they're going to be making some promos on each other. The Dark Brotherhood's going to do a little promo. This is going to be the whole Dark Brotherhood comes out. All right, right here I just have Kevin, Adonis, and the Destroyer, which might be everyone but their manager at this point. Oh, Pegasus would be in there too. But that's okay. We don't need to bring Chris Benoit into all this. He's already got a match with Kevin Von Erich, and he's going to go over. We're going to see how a technical masterclass works. This is not the first show I've booked that didn't have a brawling, but I think it's the first show I've booked that didn't have a match set as a wild brawl, in the series at least for the YouTube. So, let's get right into it. Let me start this off. And you may have noticed, if you're watching, a returning watcher, that we don't do a whole lot of hardcore matches here in UWF. Jim Cornette's running the show, so be my guest. We have done a Texas death match in which someone actually died, and we've done, was it like First Blood or something on a pole, maybe both, at different times, but maybe we'll take a little bit of inspiration from Onita and FMW when we get to the pay-per-view. And you'll see what I mean by that.
Death-defying stunts and relentless bloodshed, Japan's frontier martial arts wrestling burst into life in 1989, led by revolutionary pioneer Atsushi Onita.
Onita and his promotion, they were pioneers in
late 1980s, the WWE was very homogenized. WCW could get a little wild, but FMW took it to a whole different level.
Yeah, Onita will bleed to death. Every night he bleeds to death.
Other wrestler have more good move or a nice body or something. But I wanted something inside, like a fighting spirit.
By putting himself and his roster of wrestlers in increasingly dangerous situations, Onita filled stadiums with die-hard fans and became a global icon of hardcore wrestling. As much as they were known for the brutality, it was really the imagination that made that company click.
A no rope barbed wire match, and then they go to the exploding barbed wire, then they go to the exploding ring.
Beautiful match.
Pool.
Beautiful match.
It just got crazier
Electrified
and crazier
pool?
and crazier.
You've got to be just nuttier than a fruitcake to get into one of those matches.
Got too hot, and everybody ran to the middle, and everybody saying, "Get out of here! Get out of here! Get out of here!"
The promotion's meteoric rise was followed by an equally spectacular crash that left its top star paralyzed and its new CEO dead. Some place the blame for FMW's tragic downfall on its founder, who sacrificed everything for fame and fortune.
Some of my dad's fans say that he killed my father.
Did he run over some people? I'm sure he did. But it was necessary to be Atsushi Onita. Superstar.
Here, let me
I am
move up the
Atsushi
pay-per-view real
Onita.
quick. Well, here. That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah. はじめまして。それは馬場さんのですね、ジャイアント台風っていう漫画があったんですよ。それを見た時にですね、いやー、プロレスってすごいな。マジソンスキアガーデンでね、試合ができる日本人っていうのは素晴らしいなと思ってですね、あ、もうプロレスしかない。世界に行けるのはプロレスしかないと思ってですね。
Japan's vibrant wrestling culture was popularized by Giant Baba's All Japan Pro Wrestling and Antonio Inoki's New Japan Pro Wrestling. Both championed an authentic, hard-hitting style.
Have
When
Onita.
Texan brawlers Terry and Dory Funk came over to perform,
Oh,
their
shit.
over-the-top
He runs
Western
my-
personas instantly captivated Japanese audiences.
その時ファンクスっていうドリー・テリーっていうのはもう爆発的な人気だったんですから日本で憧れの人だったですね。
For some reason, the people took to me in Japan. Meaner than a rattlesnake, tougher than shoe leather, more dangerous than a hollow-eyed scorpion, middle-aged and crazy, crazy like a fox.
I don't think this is
You
the
know
same
who that
Onita.
is?
Wait, give me 1 second.
That is me, the best there ever was,
No? Yeah?
and the best
It's the
there
same
ever
Onita.
will be.
I was just
Terry
making sure.
Funk. All right, ask
Wow.
me some questions.
So,
And Terry Funk is one of the most universally loved performers in Japanese history. And he'd worked All Japan, he'd worked New Japan. He'd be known as an all-time great. My name is Chris Jericho, and I worked for 2 tours in FMW. Onita was a guy that started out in, I think it was All Japan, and he was kind of a high flyer.
A young disciple of Giant Baba, Onita rose through the ranks of All Japan's dojo system before being sent to America to further his craft and learn from the styles of the West. Japanese wrestlers would be sent to the different wrestling territories to further learn their trade. It was almost like an apprenticeship. My name is Mick Foley. I'm known as the King of the Deathmatch. But for a few years, I was the American Onita. And that was a huge, huge compliment. Well, Terry had told me that Onita was sent to Amarillo. Onita was very drawn to Terry's style.
He had watched me in barbed wire matches. And he really idolized
We'll do,
me. That's why he came to Amarillo. Be
we'll do an
like
event
Terry
as soon as
Funk,
we
you know,
can.
and what a horrible thing to want to be. He wanted to be an idiot too.
レスラー同士のコミュニケーションというかコミュニティがあるんですよ。それ
Oh,
で
shoot.
僕はやっぱり一
You
番
guys can't read
信
that.
用してたのは
He trusted Terry the most.
A mighty fine tractor right here out on a double
That's all I
cross
was able
When
to
Onita arrived in Amarillo,
catch.
he was recovering from recent injuries suffered in the Dominican Republic. After refusing to lose to an opponent he deemed inferior, Onita was taught a painful lesson by the promoter.
He didn't agree with what they wanted to do with him. They beat him up. But it wasn't one guy, it was all of them. Rat-backed him.
袋叩きに合うんですよ。いやテリーが可愛がってくれたし。
What was your first impression of him when you first met him?
WWE's taking
Yes.
Chris Benoit, dude.
Yeah, I spoke
I bet
Japanese
it'll
like
fail.
he spoke English. He spoke English
Then they'll
like
place
I
one that-
spoke Japanese. We both
3
were
months, you know.
lost. But we got along. I
Okay,
was
he's
there
gotta lose
for
my
him,
belt
I really was.
immediately.
I bought him a used car. And I got him a job and sent him on the road.
The Japanese team of Mr. Onita and Masafuchi.
After Onita recovers from his injuries, he and fellow protege Masafuchi travel to Memphis, Tennessee to battle in the infamous Tupelo concession
Do I
stand.
have Onita now?
Into the concession stand after tearing down the partition.
僕は原点はテネシーだと思ってますね。
Onita says the origin of hardcore wrestling for him was Tennessee.
お客さんがヒートするんですね。普通の試合より。
Onita pulling himself over the counter.
それで僕は一回あまりにもお客さんがヒート
Oh,
しすぎ
sweet.
て、
I got both of them. Okay.
女性がですね。
Alright, so this is gonna be our go home
僕の
show,
顔をですね
and then we're
ハイヒー
gonna
ルで蹴る
we're
ん
gonna
ですよ。
schedule a new pay-per-view after this.
蹴った瞬間バキーッとこう切れてですね、鼻から血がダーッと出て、これはやっぱりハードコアっていうのは人間を本当に興奮させるんだっていう、と思いましたね。そこにヒントがありましたね。
With an improved skill set and a willingness to inject thrilling violence into his matches, Onita makes a return to All Japan Pro Wrestling. On the cusp of main event stardom, a freak accident results in a devastating injury.
それで足のところからですね、骨が皮膚を突き破って飛び出してきたんですよ。それでバラバラになったんですよ、お皿がね。それでもう再起不能だって言われたんですけど、悩みましたね。悩んだし、どうやっていいかもう分からなかったんですよ。
Onita's not gonna have any
The
friends
injury
here, y'all.
permanently hinders Onita's athleticism, instantly ending his dreams of becoming a high-flying star.
He was limited as an athlete. He realized that his future in wrestling lie in the powers of perseverance and imagination.
What do you do when you're in your late 20s, early 30s, and your whole career is gone? Well, he created something that had never been done before. After years of working odd jobs, Onita's thirst for stardom drives him to devise a bold stunt. He publicly challenges real-life karate champion Masashi Oyagi to compete in a groundbreaking series of brutal matches pitting wrestler against martial artists.
人を呼ぶっていうのはそこになんかこう魅力がないとダメですから、試合じゃなくて会場自体がお客さん自体がこうぶつかり合う、
Alright, let's do this.
煽るプロレスリングが面白いかなと。
Building upon the violence Onita was exposed to in America, their rivalry makes headlines and draws massive crowds.
これはもしかしたらいけるかもしれない、やれるかもしれないと思いました。
By the time Onita claims victory in their final bout, his frontier martial arts wrestling promotion is officially born.
FMW. And FMW had a really good thing going because they gave you a full course meal. You know, you got your technical wrestling, flying wrestling, incredible women. But the hallmark was always the blood and guts. It was like a buffet of brutality.
一つのものっていうのは飽きられますか？エンターテインメントでベリーインポーテントなのは飽きられない。
The thinking that goes behind replacing ring ropes with barbed wire is the audience.
You always have to
comes
push it
first.
further.
We care about them far more than the safety of the people doing this. And real injuries are not a bad thing. They're encouraged, and they are impossible to avoid.
Yeah.
子供の頃に有刺鉄線が張ってあるところに入って怪我をするわけです。
Where's Terry Funk?
有刺鉄線は怖いという印象があるということは、見てる人たちも有刺鉄線は怖い。
Didn't he sign yet?
How would you describe a typical FMW hardcore match? What are the things you'd see in it?
Recognizable. Okay, damn.
Go to no end to self-annihilation of their bodies to have a better match than what the opposition did.
Okay, the barbed wire isn't enough. We're gonna have to rig up like electrical shocks to it. Like this was insane.
僕はそういった人がやらないババゾーフィーサー、猪木ゾーフィースがやらないことを徹底的にやろうって考えましたから。
To compete with Japan's two major promotions, FMW matches feature increasingly dangerous stunts that result in legitimate bloodshed.
I was at an FMW show where one of the female wrestlers got hit with a fireball. And her outfit, it burned the fabric into her skin. And I'm getting ready to do my match. I just hear these almost otherworldly sounds of suffering. Tears streaming down her face, sobs like I have never heard before. And it's like, we talk about a price that's really, really steep. And I had to block that out of my mind and go about with my main event match.
Jeez.
Onita's FMW roster includes like-minded performers Tarzan Goto, Mr. Pogo, Masato Tanaka, the Gladiator aka Mike Awesome, as well as up-and-coming talent with North American experience.
People want to see the action. People want to see something different. Hi, this is Ricky Fuji from FMW. People never seen before, like in a crowd, fighting each other, like beside the bum and the bloody.
All right, so here's the ones that I would say kind of qualify as like our FMW matches here. We got Abdullah, the Butcher, and Onita going up against Ron Simmons and Nick Bockwinkel in the opener. It's going to be a wild brawl. Abdullah and Onita are going to go crazy. Terry Funk's going to come out earlier in the broadcast, do a promo on the Destroyer, set that up for later, and then we'll have a main event that goes above this. But yeah, we're going to set the tone. I don't know if we're going to put all these guys on a team. I'm definitely going to make Onita a heel. Unless that's like terrible to do. Yeah, okay. Cool. Extremist. Yes. But let me adjust. Make sure this is good. It's a swagger basis. Okay. There's Onita. We have Abdullah the Butcher's a psycho. And that's like, you know, Abdullah's Abdullah. There's only one Abdullah. So there's that. Let's see. Who else did we just bring in? We brought Terry Funk. Did I hire anyone else? There was someone else I was thinking of. Okay. Terry Funk is a psycho. Boom. Yeah, somewhere in this range. Yeah, no, I wanted to be a little creative. Okay. Cool. And they're all heels. So if it works, I might just make it like a stable of like these extremist guys that are invading. They might just be managed by Terry, Onita, and yeah. Yeah, why not? Because he doesn't have great mic. So we'll give him Terry Funk. Okay. There we go. And Onita can also be managed by Terry Funk. Cool. All right. But yeah, back to
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So that's why a lot of people were excited.
We had a connection with a guy called Ricky Fuji who had spent time in Calgary that was able to bring some guys over to FMW. My first match ever in FMW was the main event, which is hilarious when you think about 20-year-old Chris Jericho in the main event against a karate expert who was just beating the shit out of me. They would be in there kicking you as hard as they could because that's all they knew how to do. I was like, what the hell am I doing here?
So I was never invited. I was never invited. It was completely luck. I'm Sabu. I was in FMW for 3 years, New Japan for a year, and then independent the rest of my life.
There goes Sabu. What's it? Oh, did you see that? For the love of God!
My uncle was the Sheik, and he was a great guy, he was a mean guy, and he was a nice guy. Onita and Tarzan Goto, they were young boys when the Sheik and Abdul the Butcher was in Japan in the early 70s and 80s. Every time they came to town, they took care of those two guys. So 20 years later, Onita starts a company and he calls up the Sheik and says, we're gonna have a tag team tournament. You can come there, come and bring anybody you want. He goes, I'll bring my nephew. He could have chose anybody, but he chose me.
What's it like to work with barbed wire?
Oh, it sucks. It sucks. The first barbed wire match, I got hurt. They took me to the hospital. I was in there all night long getting stitches. After that, I never went to the hospital. It took too long. So I started crazy gluing my cuts and then taped.
Oh my gosh.
I basically taped and glued up to all the boys too.
Oh my
single barb can
gosh.
do a lot of damage in a hurry, and it has.
So
There are some
crazy.
gaping wounds. You know, Sabu really paid the price. You know, with a roadmap of scars, makes me look like like a preschooler.
FMW's wrestlers sacrifice their bodies on a nightly basis, but none can connect with the audience quite like the promotion's founder and star, Atsushi Onita.
Onita had an ability to allow people to feel his pain and see themselves
change
in
Owen.
him. Some people can't connect with a larger-than-life superhero. They can connect with somebody who looks like they do, who is limited physically, but not limited of will.
毎日ねジュースを流す、血を流す、もう倒れそうになり、苦しかったですけど。
You know, there's man
It's like
against
every
man,
day
man against
he spills his
himself,
blood.
and now you
It was
enter
rough.
Man against the wire, man against flames, where you're making a living, putting on a show, you're doing what you love, but you're also facing fear on a nightly basis. And you have to tackle it, and you have to earn their respect, and you have to embrace it wholeheartedly.
The whole end of his match would be basically crying in front of the fans. The meaning was he had given it his all, and he was crying because the fans had stood behind him. And they played Joan Jett's version of Wild Thing, and everybody would get up out of their seats and crowd around the ringside as he poured water on his head and cried. And dude, it got over so huge.
Onita does some big show and stadium arena. Right after, he's going the ambulance. In the ambulance, he think himself, wow, okay, what's the next? That's what I heard, yeah.
爆発をね使ったりとか、港で試合をやったり、プールの中でこう試合をやったりとかっていうの全部僕のアイデアですね。
So if he could think it, he was going to do it. And I think there was a reasonably good chance that he was going to die in that ring.
In Onita's pursuit to
gotta be
consistently
rough.
top himself, a tag team match with Tarzan Goto versus Sabu and his 65-year-old uncle, the Sheik, goes terribly wrong.
Where did the idea for this fire match come from?
I don't know. I assume Puerto Rico because they had one before, and Onita wanted to top it. I didn't care. I figured they know what they're doing. They know it would be safe.
Wow, that's taking things outside of your own hands and trusting the environment someone else has created for you. I'm not comfortable with that, and I've seen a lot of people get burned, literally.
It got too hot, way too fast. If it was a building, I would have jumped off it.
どんどんどんどん燃え盛るんですね。はい。それで、空気がどんどんどんどんリング内の空気がどんどんなくなっていくんです。
There's a FMW logo in the middle. It melted in our hands. It melted in our elbows, hands, and knees. You couldn't hear nothing. You couldn't breathe. It was a roar.
Jeez.
I jumped out and immediately turned around through a bucket of water.
それでターザン後藤が逃げて、
Owens
もうこれはいけないと思って僕も逃げたんです。だけど申し訳ありませんけど、シークさんだけちょっと逃げ遅れた。助けに行くことできません。シークさんが最後に残ってるのを僕が見た時に、はっきり言って周り全部火ですから、助けに行けないわけです。
But he went out the other side. I didn't see that. He got burned by the fire pretty bad.
シークさんが 60% ですから、やけどして。
My uncle carried on wrestling Onita outside the ring, and I was trying to throw water on my uncle because he had his back burned up. I threw a bucket of water on him, and the skin on his back came off.
大変なことになりました。
Were you angry at all with Onita or anybody else about how dangerous that was?
I wasn't angry at anybody. I was angry that it was bad, and the plan was bad. I can't be angry at Onita. He gave me life.
Riding high with an expanding fan base and sold-out shows, Onita revels in the trappings of his newfound stardom.
He may have started as a scrappy underdog, and he became the king, and was treated as such.
And he had sticky fingers. He took all the money.
僕の成功っていうのはいろんな副作用があって。
My success had, shall we say, side effects. What changed? I got a big head.
それでまた自分のね、家も 4LDK.
I also got myself a 4-bedroom house.
それで車も
And I own 5 cars.
5台ぐらい持って。だからその時のこう成功した時の年収
I was making about $2 million a year at the peak of my success.
一番いい時は2億ぐらい。
That's pretty good.
Onita's fortune is not only gained from the violence he presents in the ring, but from ties with the nefarious underworld.
Yeah.
So, the Yakuza, the Japanese mob, how much were they a part of wrestling promotions in Japan at the time?
They were in control of the arenas. So the Yakuza were definitely there.
It's kind of almost like a money laundering scheme, holding shows that the mafia will kind of sponsor and put on.
We would go out to dinner sometimes with sponsors, and I would just check out their pinkies. And by and large, a lot of the sponsors were missing their pinkies because of the line of business they were in, where sections of the pinkies would be eliminated. I wasn't comfortable with it, but I accepted that that was part of what made the scene possible.
Well, they told us to stay away from a certain section, and I go, well, there's not many people in that section, who cares? It was because that was the mafia section, and like they had like 10 people there with 50 chairs empty because nobody was they were scared to sit by them. I started biting over there anyways, and they wouldn't move for us. Usually people move. He's a mafia boss, we don't know that. But then later on, we're in the dressing room getting bang, bang, bang on the door. They're looking for us. I run down this hallway and I got trapped. And a bunch of these Japanese guys would knock me down. And when I was down, I was getting boot fucked, kicked. And all of a sudden, Mike Awesome was there.
Mike Awesome, you know, the huge monster heel.
Guys started getting flung off. Mike Awesome started throwing guys off and saved my life. I loved him after that.
In 4 short years, Onita overcame his injury to build a promotion to rival his competitors. To celebrate, Onita invites his mentor from America to participate in FMW's most spectacular stunt to date. So they had an exploding ring death match, and they were really smart in bringing in Terry Funk. For him to come to FMW, it changed the perception of this company. Terry's here?
テリー・ファンクが初めて FMW に来た時になんで俺が成功した
Okay, so for the pre-show, we have Taz beating Davey Boy Smith, which in turn, when it comes to Pegasus defeating Owen defeating Pegasus, we will have Owen do a promo about Taz and how, you know, their entire relationship broke apart and is no longer, you know, around, how Taz kind of turned his back on Owen, even though he accused Owen of doing that first, but Owen had nothing but love for Taz, is how he'll, you know, what he sees it like in his perspective. Of course, Taz's perspective is completely opposite. Taz's perspective is that they had a great thing going. There were two young, up-and-coming stars. And then Owen's family came in, and he just wanted to team with his family, and he started abandoning the tag team they had going on, and Taz was willing to, you know, part ways amicably and said, you know, hey, you know, you don't want to be with us, you don't want to be with the tag team, it's fine, go tag team with them. I just think we should just call it off. And Owen drags him back in and keeps him around and is like, no, we're going to keep teaming together. We're going to keep working together. Let's be friends. Let's continue to do this. And Taz eventually, you know, became jaded enough that he left. You know, he was no longer interested in teaming with Owen. So, yeah, that's kind of, you know, there's a bit of a difference of opinion, different perspectives that they've got about it. So that's going to lead to a grudge match at the pay-per-view, as well as the match between Franchise and Foley versus the Steiner brothers. But yeah.
かって証明するためにはそのお金じゃないんですよね。お金じゃなくてやっぱりたくさんの人から大仁田は成功してるんだ。
It was stadium full, about 30,000-40,000, and they don't charge 50 cents a ticket over there either.
Lack of psychology, but they
There's
had an
the
88.
idiots. There's the front row people. We're gonna have an exploding ring match tonight. Well, I want a front row ticket. Bullshit.
Did they show you where the explosives were going to be and stuff?
Why, hell no. I had no idea. I just went out to the damn ring. I'm a glutton for a crowd being into a match, you know. I was just out there ready to capture that crowd.
Beautiful.
And we did.
なんていうのかな、全身で人がこう応援してくれる。
I don't know what he said. Your whole body feels paralyzed standing in front of 50,000 spectators.
俺は I am God.
He says, I think you heard what he said.
So the siren starts going off. And at the end of this time clock, the ring would explode. And finally, Onita gets the win, and he leaves the ring. And this thing is going down 45 seconds, 30 seconds. And Onita realizes that his hero almost the god of Japanese pro wrestling, is going to be exploded in this ring. So he goes back inside the ring and he tries to wake Funker up, and he can't wake him up, and now it's 10 seconds. He can't wake him up, so what does he do? He shields Terry Funk with his body. Then it's a bunch of like boom, 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 concussion bombs and fireworks, and just by the time it's done, you can't see anything. It was the greatest babyface thing I've ever seen in my life. He covered Terry Funk to save him from the explosion after he pinned him.
The Road Warriors are broken up, dude. They're not even a team anymore.
What FMW did the best was create a spectacle. You know, Funk survived thanks to Onita, and they were kind of like carrying each other, crying once again. And Funk was great at it too, crying.
So fun.
To me, it's a 5-star match because it had the drama and hooked you into it to where you cared. And that's the real secret of what wrestling is. That's what Onita really knew how to do. He was a genius at it.
Do you remember being satisfied with what you were paid on that match?
Why, hell no, I wasn't satisfied. I never saw an Onita after a match either till I came back the next time. I think he ran and hid.
Yeah.
FMW was at least the number 3 promotion in the country, if not number 2, depending on what was going on with the 2 big ones at the time. He legit was one of the most popular performers in the country, and not just in wrestling. He was doing game shows.
A TV drama or singing show, something like a talk show. Almost every day, like turn on TV on, Onita was there all the time, yeah.
He'd become such a big part of the culture. I think Onita had bigger plans.
In just 5 short years after creating FMW, Onita announces his retirement, which comes as a shock to his fans.
He didn't want to do it anymore. He had enough. And you can fail and not have any money at all. Or you can go out like he did with several $1 million, I'm sure.
Onita continues to headline shows for another full year while the promotion grooms a young wrestler to become his future headlining successor.
Hayabusa was the heir apparent to Onita. He was, the word that's coming is elegant, but he was also willing to do the extreme stuff.
E.G. Izaki is his name, who later became Hayabusa. We worked together quite a bit. My second tour at Kawasaki Stadium was against Izaki. And at the time, the big move that he did was a moonsault, which nobody did.
So what Jericho's saying is he ripped off the moonsault.
向いている感じじゃなかったと思うんですけど、そこで修行して、私は江崎彩音で、はやぶさは父です。父は結構そのしたいことをする、突っ走るタイプなので、その過激派レスラーの方が、合ってたのかなとは思います。
At FMW's,
she said her father wasn't big, but he worked hard to make up for it, trained hard, and well, yeah, basically that he did what he wanted to do. You know, as he loved what he did.
6th anniversary show, Onita's retirement match features the special effects and extreme gore that made him an icon. But his opponent is out of his element.
だからハヤブサには悪いな。そしてまた申し訳ないですけど、デスマッチをやる選手ではないなと僕思ってましたね。引退の時っていうのはある種どんどんみそぎをしてるんですね。自分の中で反省をしたり。
At least make WWE pay market rate.
リングを去っていく。
Hyperacting. From Obista Bulky. Mr. Bam Bam. We asked him to do that.
自分の好きなこと目いっぱいやってみてや！
Yes, good stuff.
Onita leaving FMW, that would create a huge hole that I think would be next to impossible to fill, just because of how synonymous with that company he was. And vice versa, it'd be hard to see Onita anywhere else other than thinking FMW. They're one and the same.
お前ら、俺は新しい世界に行くから、どっちが社長になるかっていうのを聞いたんですね。
An unlikely successor emerges to take the reins of FMW, the promotion's ring announcer, Shoichi Arai.
Sudden impact on Storm, Chris Jericho! And he's kind of like kind of a chubby guy, and kind of wore a tuxedo that was a little bit too small for him. But then you hear like Arai is the new like general manager. Like really? Like wow. Like well, why not? Like he was probably at every show.
Onita retire, then after okay, you are the president. What? He don't know what to do.
My dad was really nice person. He was really pure. So I didn't know why he was trying to get into that company. I still don't understand. My name is Shell, and Shoichi Arai is my dad. Onita suddenly says that, okay, I'm gonna give this company to you. You can do whatever you want. But he has no knowledge at all.
Excuse my language, but he gave jack shit to the ring announcer. He didn't give nothing to him. I'll promise you that. I'll swear to it.
Before, like Onita was there in the FMW, everywhere, always packed the arena. Many people. New FMW started, then they just little people.
We're gonna do a ladder match. Starting to get a little crazy. And we're gonna unite the belts.
Without
under
Onita's
Mick
star
Foley.
power, FMW's popularity wanes. After just one starring film role, Onita realizes his appeal is limited when he's not wrestling. Less than a year after his retirement, he unexpectedly returns to FMW to work for his former ring announcer.
僕が戻ってきた時に、僕はヒールで戻ろうと思って悪役として FMW 新しい新生 FMW と旧 FMW がぶつかり合えば面白いと。東京でやればハヤブサたちあーってこうみんなが拍手する。で俺がヒールになる。だけど田舎出れば違うんですよ。全く違う現象が起きるんですよ。僕の方が知名度あるしビッグネームだから、お客さんは僕をこうやって握手する。だけど不思議なことにそれはジェラシーでしかなかった。その辺のジレンマがぶつかり合ってどんどんこう溝ができたんじゃないですかね。
When Arai was running the company, he kind of wanted to move away from death matches, right?
I forgot this was the Southern.
Yes, because they wouldn't air our stuff only on specials because it was too violent.
To take FMW in a new direction, Arai hires veteran Japanese star Hiromichi Fuyuki to handle the company's creative direction.
That's why I like something change. Arai always ask Fuyuki. Then Fuyuki say, do this. Fuyuki wants to do some entertainment style.
He had a belt called World Entertainment Wrestling, like WWE, but World Entertainment Wrestling. And they stopped having death matches.
最後の頃さ、ね、P じゃないけど、おしっこ引っ掛けるアングル作ったりとか、悲惨だったんですよね。何があれがエンターテインメントか僕には分からなかったですね。
The tug of war between Onita's vision for FMW and Fuyuki's new direction forces Arai to arrange a meeting with his top talent.
その3日前にそのミーティングを開く、そのミーティングもですね、ビデオの打ち合わせだって言って僕行ったんですよ。嘘をつかれたんですね、新井社長に。それで行ったらですね、選手が並んでて「大田さんやめてください」。
Yeah, I said to Onita, please, leave FMW. We gotta do this and talk on the Hayabusa.
ね、自分が作った FMW を追い出されるというね。
While Hayabusa struggled to draw the crowds of his predecessor, his athletic style was winning new fans and realizing success for FMW. Until tragedy struck on October 22nd, 2001.
He did a second rope moonsault and his foot slipped and he went backwards and landed on his forehead.
Storytelling, the brawler versus the technician.
He always get up. By the time they're watching, he never get up.
Hayabusa! ちょっとはやぶさがピンとも動きません。はやぶさ！ちょっとはやぶさがピンとも動きません。
I step in the ring. Hayabusa, he's like my brother. He can talk, but
there's no need for them to be in a cell.
He didn't die. It was worse. He was paralyzed. I'd rather have died.
Just terrible. Terrible injury to happen to just a great guy, a great performer, and a legit kind of future legend. All the boxes that need to be checked, he had it.
怪我した当時は多分父本当に絶望的だったんで、多分プロレス、自分のしてた仕事プロレスができなくなってこれからどうしようみたいな。
His career was cut short in his prime, and I think with his career went the future of FMW. They never really found somebody to replace Hayabusa.
Beyond being a serious emotional blow to FMW and his fans, Hayabusa's injury also sets in motion a financial disaster. Without their star attraction, Arai struggles to keep his fledgling company afloat.
I said, wait, please wait, please wait. I'll never get paid.
I remember that my mom say, don't steal house money or something.
And what do you think that meant? Was he using the money from the family to help pay for the business?
Oh, yes.
確かに僕は逆に言うと闇金から借りても恩田さん助けてくださいっていうのは新井社長のプライドとしてできなかったんじゃないですか。
He owed money from the Yakuza and he couldn't pay them back. His phone was ringing all the time. My mom was like panic and she screamed. So I thought it's not a good thing. My mom and dad, like they divorced, and I think he was really suffering, and I didn't realize because I was too young.
This is your friend we're talking about.
We didn't get paid. He said he'd send it to me, and he killed himself the next day. Hung himself in a schoolyard. When you borrow money from the Japanese mafia, even if you kill yourself, they're going to get their money from your family. So that wasn't the end of the story. They're saying he was selfish for doing that, a coward, because now his family owes that money, you know, and they'll get it.
Arai's death triggers a life insurance payment, but it's sadly not enough to cover his family's newly inherited debt.
They came my home suddenly, and they changed the key and they changed everything, and we couldn't get in our house anymore. My picture, my video, my memories was all in that house, but it's all gone. That's why I don't have anything.
新井選手が死んだって俺はもう死んだ人のことを悪口言いたくないけどやっぱりビジネスに失敗したんだよ。俺は生き残ってるっていうのは生き残ってんだよ。
I feel a little bit that Onita used my dad. A lot of people say that he was too kind and too pure. That's why he gone.
洗いが悪くなったらさ、女房逃げてさ、女房逃げてさ、それで多分それがショックだったんだろう。ね、首をつったっていう。借金なんかどうでもいいんだよね。ヤクザに殺されたとかさ、闇金に殺されたのはよくわかるけどさ、そうじゃないわけじゃん。みんな借金なんかばっくりいりゃいいんだよね。払えませんって言ったらその場だな。精神的なもんで追い詰められたんだ。
Over a decade later, FMW briefly rises from the ashes, with Onita back in the ring and Hayabusa acting as an executive producer. But less than a year later,
Hayabusa,
tragedy
the
strikes
executive
again
producer?
when Hayabusa collapses in his home and dies at the age of 47.
Damn.
はやぶさとしてのプ
Can't
ロ
make
レ
jokes
ス
during
を
this stream.
全うしてたのもすごいことだ
It's
と思い
rough.
ますし、そのすっごい大怪我をしたにもかかわら
Hayabusa's
ず
dedication was
めげ
amazing.
ず
He
に
never let injury
新
stop
しいことに
him
どんどん挑
from
戦
taking on new
しようという
challenges.
姿勢は、怪我した時とかも怪我した後
Even after he
リハ
got
ビリの時と
injured,
かも
he
私た
was
ちの前
going
とか
through
でずっと笑顔を
rehabilitation. He kept a brave face.
He did walk again. I mean, it's one of the most gut-wrenching things you see when he's surrounded by members of wrestling royalty from several different promotions. And it's one of the most emotional moments you will ever see when Hayabusa walks to the ring.
Onita, I'm gonna try Onita and Sabu together.
FMW was the wild,
happened.
wild west of professional wrestling. I mean, it was in the East geographically, but it was this lawless, wild frontier. If you could think it, you could do it. The spectacle always came first. And it was a big part of wrestling history and something that's still borrowed from to this day.
逆に言うとハードコアというものを本格的に作ったのは僕だと思う。それを全世界に広めたのは僕だと思ってます。
What I learned in FMW, of course, I took it to ECW. ECW was formed from FMW.
Onita basically built a promotion around himself, an undersized underdog wrestler, and made it a huge success.
If you could say anything to him right now, what would you say? Is there any reason that you want to flick him off?
No, hell no. I love him.
じゃあハルク・ホーガンの代わりにハルク・ホーガンがいるかいないんですよ。やっぱりハルク・ホーガン、ハルク・ホーガン、アントニー猪木はアントニー猪木、ジャイアント馬場はジャイアント馬場、大仁田敦は大仁田敦、多分一代限りだと思います。
Well, good stuff. I feel like I did a lot of talking in this episode, but I'm gonna finish booking this one anyway, just to get us there to the end. But yeah, we picked up Abdullah. Obviously, I don't know if he was in FMW. I don't think we saw him in FMW in the show here, but he does have his own episode of Dark Side of the Ring, and that's probably the one we're gonna do next. So maybe we'll you know what? Yeah, let me. I don't know. Who's watching out there? Do you guys want me to keep it going, or do you want me to start over when we got Abdullah ready? Let me know. Get this other main event title at least booked. Hillman versus Roberts. Ooh, Kerry Von Erich versus Roberts. That's better. We got the World Heavyweight Championship on the line in this one. Let's book Terry Funk next, because I realized he's needs to be on this card as well. What do we do? Is this one storytelling? Yeah. Okay. Let's do Terry Funk. Nope. I thought he would have went up maybe a little bit. Who do we have for Terry Funk? I think it's going to be Terry Funk versus Junk, and we know how that's going to go. That's right. If Junkyard Dog could do more than 10 minutes, we might not job him out so much. I don't even think we need to do Wild Brawl, because he's not going to, then it'd have to be like 6 minutes. Is that the case, right? Yeah, he can't even do 11 minutes regular. He can't even do 10 minutes regular? Wow, that is rough. Terry Funk to dominate. Nope, 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 nope. Terry Funk to dominate. And we're going to do Wild Brawl, since it's only 6 minutes. Well, geez, there's 2 of those? Nah, that's fine. Do regular. Okay. Okay. You haven't said anything in the chat, so I'm probably just going to restart real quick. Change the kind of the border over here and switch out for the new Dark Side of the Ring, and we'll just do Abdullah's as part of the same show. So if you want to see all of the results of the hardcore matches, really I have like 2, right? A ladder match, and then I didn't even make another one. We'll make another hardcore match or something. Maybe this Terry Funk Junkyard Dog will be a first blood or something, but yeah. I'll end it here, and then we can continue on in the next one.